Beyond the Clef is presented by Director's Choice.
Welcome to Beyond the Clef. We are here at TMEA 2018, and I am here with Kathy Johnson. How are you doing, Kathy?
Wonderful, thank you.
Thanks for being on the program. We're so excited to have you.
Thank you for asking.
Yeah,
looking forward to it.
And Kathy, you are the dual purpose profession. You have two titles. You're the director of instrumental music.
Instrumental.
And you're the director of bands at Argyle High School.
Yes.
In Argyle ISD.
Correct.
Yeah. And so that's a big load, isn't it?
It is. It's wearing two hats is always, a big job.
Yeah, so absolutely. Well, we're having you on today. We can talk about so many different things, but I found from Chris Meredith, who was on at TBA this year, he told me just a little blurb he was talking about in the program. He was talking about music mastery. And I was like, well, what is that? So after the show, I wrote it down and I texted him and he was telling me about it, and I bought it. And has changed my teaching and my program so much. So about a month ago, I was like, hey man, you want to be back on to talk about this? And he said, no. Talk to Kathy. So that's why you're sitting here. You can blame him for it.
All right.
So you've created this thing and with a couple other people called Music Mastery. So can you tell us a little bit about what that is?
Right. It's more or less a supplement to what you would use in your classroom for your Standard of Excellence, Best in Class, whatever book you use. We felt that those methods didn't really cover everything that the students needed to know in that first year. So we would, do our own handouts and such. Well, I've been working on it basically for 31 years and had, people asking for it, and I did flute, clarinet, oboe, bassoon, all the woodwinds. And so I decided to put it together, and I was going to go ahead and publish it just as a standalone. Well, then I talked to Chris and Alicia DeSoto, who works with Chris at Shadow Ridge. I talked to them at Midwest because they had just done a clinic on their rhythm rockers. And I thought, you know what, they're going to want to publish that too. Those two things together would make a great little method. The people that have used it, like you said, have, their beginners are doing very well, and pretty much they use it as the main course in teaching. And then the method books actually become the supplement. I use mine for sight reading and performances. We do some little recitals and things, and we use that book for that. But this book takes the student from knowing nothing. The teacher, if you're not a flute player, your teacher's manual is going to teach you how to teach the flute. And so it takes you from the very beginning, all the way through, full range of the instrument, rhythmically as far as you want to go with your students. So it's pretty comprehensive.
Yeah, at the end of the rhythm rockers, the very last line, I'll admit that I was trying to sight read that, and I was like, that's pretty tough. Yeah. That's interesting. So I've been using it now for a couple months, I guess since August, and so we got all the packets in, and what I do love about it is, like what you were saying, the flute manual, there's a great teacher edition for the flute right now, more coming soon, I'm sure.
I just finished oboe bassoon. Well, I just finished oboe bassoon, and Alicia does all of our formatting, and so it's a big job, big job.
Yeah.
So she's, I think, finished formatting those, and I believe they're going to be live. Like if they may be live already. I know that we have some samples in the booth, but those are done. Clarinet is just about done. Saxophone is coming. The brass books are almost finished too, and we have all the student editions. We just haven't, wanted to take a little bit more time with the teacher editions, since it is sort of a method for the teachers as well. And I think, that is so important for me as a woodwind person. When I was a young teacher, brass was kind of a little bit challenging for me. But these books, like I said, it teaches you exactly how to teach the instrument. And I think that's kind of one of the things that's lacking a little bit in our universities. The students that are student teaching now, that I talk to them about, their pedagogy classes, and they say this, it really didn't prepare me for what I needed. So when they use this book, they're like, this is what we need.
Right,
this is exactly what we need. So I'm real proud of it.
Yeah,
real proud of
absolutely.
it.
You should be, and your whole team. And just to make sure I got everybody, who else is working on this project?
Okay, so Asa Burke.
And what does he contribute?
He is a brass contributor with Chris. Chris and Asa are working together on all the brass books. Asa works with me at Argyle High School. Then Alicia DeSoto, who works with Chris, she's doing the clarinet method. Dominic Talenka, who is at the University of, I think, North Carolina. I should be more aware of that. But he's doing the saxophone method.
Okay.
Yeah.
Great.
So
Yeah.
Dominic and I kind of have a long history. He was a student teacher of mine many years ago, and we kind of worked together on taking the things that I had put together by hand, and he put them on Finale for me, and that's kind of where it started.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
As far as the actual printed version.
Right.
Everything else was in hand.
And that kind of brings me to the layout of the book. And what I really love about it is that there's, if I remember, 4 different sections in the book. Some are similar between all instruments, like the rhythm rockers, some specific. So tell us about the layout.
So we have theory time, which takes our students through, basic theory, through the key signatures and rhythms. Then we have rhythm rockers that, you can go, as I said, as far as you want, compound meter and simple meter. We have the actual method of the playing method for each book, and these are instrument specific but usable in a heterogeneous setting. So it's not that you're going to start everybody on the same note. You're going to start them on the note that's best for them, but you can also pick and choose lines. For example, if you want them to play in thirds or if you want them to play in fifths, so that's something that's pleasing to the ear, and that's a good oral skills, thing anyways.
I'm writing that note down for me when I get back home.
Okay, and the other part of the book is scale masters. We do tetrachords involved in that as well. So we've got every aspect. The biggest part is, teaching the students how to play the instrument correctly from the beginning with the embouchure, the posture, the hand position, all of that. Exercises to develop their embouchure, instrument-specific exercises to teach them. My flutes learn all 3 fingerings for B flat the first time we hit B flat. We're not going to just stand, do thumb E flat or lever key or whatever. We know all 3, and we know when we would use them. And each time I ask my students, okay, which B flat are we going to use? They can tell me, and it's correct.
Yeah, my students is really kind of adorable for the chromatic B flat. One of them just said, at one point I was trying to say, hey, let's play the chromatic B flat fingering, but I was just getting tongue-tied, and so she decided to call it the puppy B flat. She just named it a random thing, so now all my kids call it puppy B flat. It's written in their book.
That's
you got to play the puppy key, okay? I don't know where that. It's so funny.
When I first teach it, it looks like kind of like a golf club, and I'll say it's like the one that looks like the golf club. Yeah.
To me, the book is, of course, there's nothing super revolutionary in the book. It's all stuff that has been happening, and you were referencing like college. When I got done with college, I have, and it's in my band hall right now, I have a binder this thick that is full of all sorts of supplemental materials and different worksheets. When I first started at Heritage Middle School, I work with a good friend of yours, June Beard.
Yeah.
And of course, what I did is I went to her, and I think it was after a clinic that you and her did. And I said, hey, I want all these worksheets. So, and this is what all new teachers do. Of course, they go to their mentor people, and June has been very great to me. And of course, she gives me a stack of worksheets and different things that she does. And when I look at them, they're what she's done. Now, she's been doing it for a while now, and I don't know, okay, so how does she really implement this? When does she implement this? How does that work? What I love about your book is it's the same kind of thing for all the instruments, and it's all laid out in a very easy way for a young teacher to get to. And I mean, I'm in my 9th year of teaching, but like I said, completely changed how I do things. Now, one thing that I did learn about 2 months ago, I'm going to admit, I was going through, in the like flute section, for instance, I was going through, okay, let's do this, and then let's go to our music, and then, okay, we've made it down the page, let's kind of go to this, and then I'm not really realizing that you were telling me that's not quite how the book's designed.
Right, it's designed for you to move around. So say you finish the first page. Well, once you're finished with the first page, you can go to the 6th page and use the information that you learned on page 1 to apply it to page 6. I think the application of knowledge is the breakdown. That's where everybody breaks down. They give, facilitate the students, give them the information that they need for that moment, but they don't extend it and teach the students how to apply it. And that is one of the things that the book does too. And it's just very efficiently laid out, meaning you're going to do this in the flute class, but you're also going to do it in the clarinet class, and you're also going to do it in the oboes and the trumpets. And so every beginner is getting the same information for their instrument and learning how to apply that that information.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'll forget sometimes that in one class I'm doing this, and then in one class it didn't work out because there was a fire drill that day, or that was a shorter period, and then I forget that wasn't ever taught to those kids, and then we're kind of launching along. And what's great about the book is it really does help in that way. Again, methods books like we use Essential Elements. It's really geniusly aligned if you kind of go through. And I always tell my student teachers or the teachers that are newer in my district, I always say it is a little bit of a pick and choose, but what's great about this is I feel like it really expands into the knowledge of what they're needing to do. And when you're talking about kind of going along, when I finally realized, oh, it's not about page 1, then 2, then 3, like maybe a method book would typically do, I realized it in my brass class. So the first line was maybe just doing a kind of a Remington-esque thing. Yeah, and then I go 3 more pages later, there's bugles 1, bugles 2, bugles 3, or whatever. Then you go to the Remingtons, and then this and that, and then there's a chromatic page, and it all builds up very logically.
Well, really what we're trying to do with the teacher manuals is to, when we're working on one exercise, we have the bubbles out to the side that tell you what to say. This is what you need to watch for. Now, after you finish this exercise, you can now go to page 6, and this is a companion exercise. So we're trying to do that in the teacher's manuals. That's a little bit more. It's more intuitive for us, but to help the people who are just first using it. I think after the first year that a person would use this, they're going to go, oh yeah, now I see. Okay, well I'm going to do it way differently next year. And they're going to have their own way of using it. And I may use it differently than you, but it's all correct.
Right, yeah, absolutely.
What's working for you. Yeah.
I really think that, especially accompanied with the teacher manuals, if every new teacher starts with this, and if they have nobody around to help them out at all, they can start with this and have a fantastic beginner program right off the bat, just reading through the manuals and doing a little bit of what this says and getting the information out of there. It's taken me a while to really help find some of my mentors, and like I said, I've been teaching for 9 years. It's really hard to find someone that fits with me and comes into my program and says, you should do this, you should not be doing this. Right. But this is it's like a paper mentor.
Yeah.
It really is.
Well, can I tell you my evil plan?
Uh-oh.
Don't tell anyone.
Okay. I won't.
So I've always been on this crusade for university methods classes, to not have necessarily a TA come in and teach the students how to play an instrument and then send them on their way thinking, okay, now they can teach it. They know how to play it, but they really don't know how to teach it. So my big dream for this is for the teacher manuals to become a college method, and for those to be used to teach students how to become teachers.
Absolutely.
And then they don't have to wait till their first year of teaching. So that's my goal.
Yeah, absolutely. This
conquering the world.
To me, this needs to be a standard part of every TMEA membership for every person that comes in the band department. This is really, it has been life-changing for me. And so thank you for that. So tell people, how can they go and get this now that we're excited about this?
This is right now it's a complete download. We have
and I love the PDF, by the way. That's great that I can get those in
copy,
every year.
Yes.
Yeah.
mrnsmusic.org is where you can find the books, and along with Marty Nelson's sight reading books, which are great too. You pay for one book, and you are allowed to copy as many copies of that book as you need to. The teacher manuals are separate right now, but we're going to probably bundle them so that we can do a woodwind bundle and a brass bundle. But it's all sort of new, and we're going to try to find the best way to market those for teachers that's going to work for them.
Yeah, absolutely.
So.
Yeah, and it's a cost up front that I'll have forever. I'll have these things forever, and it'll change my program. That's what I love about it. I love the PDF thing. I love that I don't have to figure out a way to try to get my kids to pay for this and every year and as that part of their package. I just have it. I print it off for them, and it costs us, less than the copies that any other teacher probably uses in the whole school. So.
And it's like not just you can't just copy the first year. You can copy forever as long as you need to. And if there's a second edition or whatever, if we find that I really would like to add this page to the flute book, I'm going to post that on MRNS free for those people who've purchased the book, so that they can just add it to what they already have.
I really feel like you're not out here to make a buck. You're out here to make.
Like I said, it's a crusade. It is.
It is very fantastic. Yeah. So you're here at the convention, kind of promoting this, and that's really exciting. I guess, do you have anything else that you'd like to add about maybe the future of what you were thinking? And with you kind of told me some things about curriculum.
Exactly. We want to put together, just like you, your first year, not really understanding how to use the book, to put together like a timeline for the teachers that they can access on the MRNS website that shows them at least how we use the book and how long we spend on each portion of the book. Of course, that's going to vary from year to year depending on your class. Some classes move faster than others, and some are just amazing and take off. But that's something that we want to do. That's in the pike. And then, of course, a second edition that takes it more into the 7th, 8th grade high school level.
Oh, wow.
And I have to say that there are things in these books that you would use in your sectionals for your 7th and 8th grade bands, and even in some high schools. There are advanced techniques, whether it be vibrato or articulation, that can be used, harmonics, scales, technique exercises that can be used in your sectionals as well. It's not just a beginner book, it's mainly a beginner book.
Yeah, and I'll tell you what I did for my whole program, and I had printed off the music mastery for all of my students, but then I went and took the fingering charts in each group, and I printed them off on cardstock, front and back, and then I put them in sleeve protectors, and now all the kids have them, and it's so they can move it in, and no matter what music they're on, they have that there as a resource, and it's a really well laid out, simple fingering chart. It's not the absolute everything fingering chart, but it's what a middle school child needs. It's
well,
really
and offers all of the fingerings that they're going to possibly use, and gives them options when there's a pattern that comes up that doesn't work necessarily right, or left, then they can learn, the left, right, which is in the book anyways. I should probably say the way we put the book together once we copy it is, as you say, we put them in page protectors. We have dividers in our students' binders that are for each section, the technique section, the rhythm rocker section, the scale section, and
that's something I didn't do, and I will do next year.
It really is helpful. It makes it, you can move pretty quickly, in class, so you're not wasting time trying to search for things. And, we all want to cram as much information in those class periods as we possibly can.
Yeah. And then this really helped with my pacing too, just being able to go to this thing, next.
Well, I'm retiring at the end of the year, and so I'm going to have a lot of time to think about, and to plan what I want, to see coming up next. And I've even thought maybe of an ensemble skills book, which I think would be really helpful, that kind of plays off of what they've done, from their 6th grade year. So.
Well, I am happy to have found this crusade of yours, and you will take over the world with this. I appreciate it so much. And congratulations on your retirement.
Thank you.
And we look forward to seeing more. So we have Kathy Johnson here from Argyle High School, but also from Music Mastery, which can be found, you said, at mrns.org.
mrnsmusic.org.
mrnsmusic.org. We really appreciate you being a part of the program.
Thank you for asking.
Yeah,
My
and
pleasure.
thank you for joining us on Beyond the Clef, going further with your music program.
Thank you.